Okay, good afternoon, guys. Hope everyone's doing well today. Thanks for joining us in the TradeSetup live stream. Now it's the 19th of June. Sorry I couldn't make it last week, so obviously Monday was a public holiday down here. And Thursday, unfortunately, had to go to a funeral, so I could not make it on the Thursday afternoon stream. So there's been a bit of action last week as well, so not a lot in the markets actually, but there's a few big things that happened, so we'll take a look at that a bit later on. Take a look at the major indices. I think it's time we just go over those, see where they stand, and see what we make of those, especially that, the obviously in the US, European, we've got the DAX, the FTSE we'll take a look at, and our local market, just see how that's faring at the moment, see what we think of that. So it'd be great to hear everyone else's thoughts on that. We've also going to take a look at what we've got. It may be a fairly quiet stream today. We're having a few little issues with our app just shooting off some notifications, the push notifications, I think. So it may be a bit quieter than normal. Plus I've been away, so people have probably got out of bad habits. So anyway, for anyone that's new and watches this video later on that is following us, just remember you can join us on Twitter. You'll see that in the top left-hand corner. It's our site there. Follow us on Facebook would be great. And then any just comments on there. If you can like us on Facebook when we put up some any form of release or news or anything like that. Do a few bits and pieces on there. Still trying to get a bit more active. So we've just got to get a few things together and we're going to pick it all up there. Link it to us on YouTube too. If you subscribe down the bottom right corner, what that means is that you'll get an alert from YouTube every time we do go live and stream. So if anything does happen, you'll get something to pop up. So we're actually going live now. So if you link into us on there and watch some of the old videos, might be of note. There's been a few. There's been FX review, which we've been doing once a week. It's been going quite well. So it'd be good if anything you watch, just leave us a bit of a like on there. Much appreciated. Help us spread the word a bit. Anyway, we'll get into it. I'll just get the other video up. Just bear with me a second. That should pop up there, shouldn't it? There we go. Alrighty, so the market at the moment is up 22. We had the US, we didn't get to talk about it last week, obviously not here. The US lifted rates. Now that should come through, there you go. US lifted rates by 25 basis points last, I think it was Thursday morning? Wednesday night, Thursday morning their time. Anyway, that was last week. They lifted it by 25 basis points, or a quarter of a percentage point, which was pretty much expected and widely factored into the market. But what the big news was, really what they were focusing in on, was the future rate rises. And I just knocked over my coffee, which is great. Future rate rises and what they're looking at there. So we're looking at 25 basis points. They're looking at potentially another one this year out of the US, but there's a bit of the market sort of looking at it going, well, the inflation figures are not quite as good as what they could be. They're still below the target, the Fed Reserve's target. So I think a lot of the bigger players are thinking, well, if it's not quite there, they may have to hold off on another rate rise, and the market may be a bit overcooked on where it is at the moment. But the Fed's pretty confident that their numbers are coming out quite good, and they're still sticking to their guns, saying potentially they are looking, they're well within the range, happy with the way it's going, and they are looking for potential another rate rise later this year. Maybe, what are we now, June? Probably September, December, I think. But we'll see how they go. We'll just have to follow the numbers in the US, what happens there, and how the market takes it. Now, the US itself has been going quite good. It's been a bit quiet. Last night, I think Friday was a fairly flat session. There's been a couple of flat sessions last week. Nothing too bullish, nothing really negative either. There hasn't been any big sell-offs. If they did open lower, that would have been bought back up during the session to finish flat by the end. So it's been a bit of a strange mix there in the US. The UK is still fighting over, obviously, with May's. She didn't get the result she wanted, so that's thrown the political turmoil in London. in the UK anyway. So that, I think what they're looking at that, or the results of that, is that they're not going to get the deal they want for leaving the EU. It's not going to be as rosy as they thought, and it's not going to be as quick a process as thought earlier also. So I think that's it's putting a bit of pressure on the equities markets over there, and the FTSE also. Sorry, not the FTSE, the pound. We'll just keep an eye on that, just follow that on. What else we got? The DAX ticking away okay. There's not much news out of there to watch, and the rest of Europe. It's mainly just what we're focused in on is the US, obviously, which leads the markets pretty much, and the UK, what's happening over there and what that's going to do to our market. So we'll take a look at the overall indices now. All right, so what's your view? We'll start off with the XJO. What's everyone's view on the XJO? I know we've been talking about it for quite a while, and I'm still quite bullish on it. I don't think anything's really changed. Technically, nothing's really changed. It looks like it's sort of rolling over there, but it's still holding key levels, which it tends to do time and time again. They'll hold up on a key level and then maybe wash it out occasionally. Some of these minor levels wash them out. It catches people off guard that are getting a bit negative. A few of the bears jumping in, and that's not a bad sign. For the market to head high, you do need some people in there selling it, or just jumping in on the short side, and they get squeezed back out of the market. We've spoken about it quite a bit on the S&P. Yeah, and I completely agree with you, Wayne. Spoken about it quite a bit on the S&P, the E-mini especially, what we've looked at. We haven't sent out quite too many alerts of late, but just watching the S&P continually sort of back off from the highs. You get short sellers jumping in there, expecting it's overcooked, it's extended. It doesn't break any key levels, so you really, in my book, you just don't sell it until you break a key level, and then you get that shoulder trade, which we talk about, a lower high to work from. And if you don't do that, if you're jumping in a bit, getting a bit eager, and you're anticipating a bit, you do tend to get squeezed out of quite a bit. And you can go through the S&P. Look at, we'll probably take a look at that in a minute. The 4-hourly chart, I think we've been following. Even the shorter term, you can look at an hourly. You can just see how it builds up quite nicely, and then squeezes the short sellers back out again. And it's just continually dragging in that fuel, sellers in and squeezing them out, and they try again. Whether it's revenge trading or what, but when people just don't like to be wrong, the ego gets the best of them, and they're the ones that keep getting, like I said, squeezed out of the market. So the ASX, what we're seeing here, we'll just draw it up. I quite like it. I don't see any seriously key levels that have been broken. Bit of, as happens a lot in the market, it's got to just retrace a bit just to bring in some more buys where it's fair value. People see it as fair value. You've got a key level at 50.50. On the weekly, that's a major anchor level to the weekly trend up, and we've had this push up from that weekly trend. On the daily, we've still got some minor levels which are holding up quite nicely. 56 seems to be the most. That's pretty much your major on this daily trend up to where we've got to 59.50, say, so far, those highs. That's a nice little anchor level. We've got an inside level here, and we say inside because it's just above that anchor level, and it's just within those previous highs. So when you get that sort of move back, it's minor lower highs, lower lows, and then a bit of a washout there at 56, and then that's produced really that little move up to the highs, and then it's backed off a bit more, so that's more of an inside level than a key level. That's the way I'm viewing it anyway. The market then it's continued its move high up to around that 59.50, backed off with some lower highs, just took out a minor level there, and that's when you get that push through, then you got those lower highs working down to that inside level. I think it was 56.75, just above the 5600 mark. And that would have dragged in, you can see that would have dragged in quite a few short sellers, a few of the bears that are adamant this market's going to roll over. But what it's really just done is washed out a minor level, but still held up above the major anchor level. And the weekly anchor level is way down at 50.50, so there's a fair bit to run in that. It looks really good. So the last few days, I think, what are we now? That's Monday, Friday, Thursday. So it's, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So those 3 sessions there, that's really picked up the market quite nicely after they got that washout of 56.75. And the key for me was that pop up through 58, which we got on, what was that, Thursday? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. So Wednesday last week, we got that pop up through 58. I like that. And I think what we see now is that move down is just that contraction lower. but still holding up with above that 56. We've got a pop out of that minor anchor level at 58, which is just holding down that most recent price action. That's been broken. So what I'm expecting really here, just so we've got that minor high there, we've got that washout there, and we've got that pop up. All right, so these are sort of the key levels we're looking for. I'll change to red just so you know what we're looking at. We get that pop down. We might get a bit of, bit of choppiness in here, but I still want to see that hold a higher low in comparison, above 57, say somewhere around that 57.50 mark, and then work its way up off that level. All right, I think that's I'm seeing that sort of price action at the moment. I see that's what's going to happen. So as we see, when we look at our stocks, it's the setups we're looking for, that type of price action. We've got that beautifully. You tend to get the washouts on the indices, which is nice. You don't tend to get that sort of action on the individual shares as much, but you do get washouts. So it's always good to note what, if you're coming into a key level and you're still holding some lower highs, okay, we're going to get a washout. And generally, if the market's positive, the longer term trend's up, still the daily trend's up, it's probably going to be a washout, and just keep an eye on it. If you pop up and break a key, like a minor level like we did at 58, okay, then I think the bias is starting to change from that shorter term trend lower. We're getting buyers stepping back into market, a nice strong move up to through 58, and then we just want to see this type of price action where we hold that high low somewhere around 57.50. But it's looking still quite good, and I think that would take us, go back to the weekly on this, up towards these 6,000 highs. So we're going to get through those, what was it, 59.50? That's our sort of first port of call, 59.50, 59.60. Yeah, this little high here on the weekly, and then take us up through that. And I like that because it's just a touch below 6,000. I think we can easily blow through that, pop up through 6,000, and then maybe seeing that bit of back and fill from there, a bit of a pullback, and then build that higher low again. And you can see on the stochastics on the weekly, we're in a prime position. That sell down has been is fairly strong, but it's been held up above the key level at 56. So all looking good for now. I do like that. We'll get on to the major indices now. I've just got to find where I'll put them. Now, we'll start off with the US. This is the S&P we've talked about. This is on a daily chart, I think. Still really like that. And you can see this type of price action now. This is what I was talking about before. Just knowing your levels, knowing your key levels. I think it's very important in trading. Everyone probably knows that. It's pretty obvious, but and just keep you out of that anticipation type of trading, which I know there has been a few people I've spoken a bit prone to that. But yeah, just keeping you out of the wrong zones and keeping you focused on the right levels and what's happening longer term. You can see this market just starting here. You've got a key level way down here. The market's edged higher, bit of a choppy price action. It's washed out this low. That may have brought in some short sellers just off a lower high. That's not so, I guess, prevalent way back then. That was way back in last year, wasn't it? Yeah, last year. I think what we look at it further when the trend is well established, when you get that type of price action. But look, you would have got some selling through there. People are getting a bit conservative, and then bang, it just pops straight back and washes them all back out. So that's the key level. That was that key level down there. So then you've produced this key level. All right, if we'll just mark it up on a short level. That's your anchor level now to that trend higher. It's produced this leg up here. You've got up to just below 2,200. Then you start washing out a few of these levels, making that lower high. That's bringing in some selling, and you can see how that sort of capitulates and then bang, straight back up again. So probably a touch harder to trade on this daily basis. That type of price action, because it's just turned on a dime and just went straight back up again. Again, turned on a dime. There's not really that capitulation there, push up, build a high low to work from. That, what we love to see, it's just been straight up. Does that make sense? But yeah, again, that type of price action would have been dragging in some sellers. People have been thinking this is oversold for quite a while, and it just keeps washing them back out. So now you've got a new key level, which is anchoring to this trend higher. This type of price action, when you get it's just stuck up in a bit of resistance zone, you're going to get people that are shorting it into there, and then you're going to flush back out again, and then you've got this extended move up to 24. Again, you've got your lower highs, but your anchor levels, really your major anchor levels, right down here, just below 2,100, and you've even got these little minor ones just in there, and they're miles away. So what that's done is really dragged in some of those sellers, people who think it's oversold, or whether they're profit taking, I doubt it, but you just get that and we do know that there's been quite a raise in short sellers. All right, they've increased quite a bit. And they well outweigh, especially at the moment, because this trend is well established. It's gone for quite a while now. So as you get sort of the top end, I mean, not saying there's not going to be a rollover, but when you get sort of this stage in a well established trend, the sellers they're just going to come out of the woodwork, I'd say. And we do know that I think they're about 80-20, roughly 80% compared to 20%. And they're still losing, if that makes sense. They're still getting washed out of the market. And that's the sort of fuel that you need for this continuation of the trend higher. Until you see an anchor broken, and at the moment we've got a little level down at, I think that's 23.25. That's now a new level. Then you've got a little minor one down at 23.50. But you're still a fair way away from it. All right, so there's no anchor levels broken there on that trend on the way up at all. Yet still you get those lower highs, which are going to drag in some sellers. You know, this type of move down here is when you just break sort of minor levels here, are dragging in sellers, getting a bit confident, maybe a bit of profit on the table, maybe they've taken a small profit, but the ones that are holding it are getting squeezed back out of the market. And it's just, look, if you're biased to the long side, it's a beautiful thing to see, really. And it's great fuel anyway. Let's look at the Dow. So anyway, the S&P, just before we go, there's no reason why that trend is still well and truly intact. You're probably starting to get this little move up from the 2350s. Probably starting to get a bit overcooked at the moment, but you can see our stochastics coming down. The selling's entering into the market, but it's still holding up around those highs. There's no reason why it can't pop up straight up through 2450 again and just continue on. So it's still holding that, maybe get that bit of a washout like this, you know, smash down the 24 and then bang, straight back up, turn on a diamond and away we go again. But keep an eye on it. The trend is definitely on the way up. And the Dow, pretty much the same type of price action. I like this a bit better because you spend quite a bit of time, from March through to probably start of June, really holding between this support zone. I'll just draw that up actually. Actually, just bear with me a sec, guys. Cancel. I just want to make that a bit bigger. You can all see these charts. Everyone's seen these charts quite clearly. There we go. So again, the Dow's doing something. I like this type of price action because you've got this move down, and even through here, it's sort of a mild wedge. Or if you looked at it like that, you know, it's held up this support, flushed out these little lows here. I think that was around 24.50, say. This little washout here, and then it led to a pop up, and then a bit of a pullback, built a higher low, and that trend there, if you measure it, it could have quite a bit to go on the Dow. If you're measuring it sort of from that last consolidation period we had through here, say December through January this year, that consolidation through there, if you take that as sort of a key level to the highs, and then we got those lower highs, so that's our high there projected out at 21.2, say. What do we got there? 19.7. What's that? 500 points. Take 500 points, so 21. That's not right, is it? 19.7 up to about 21,200. I'm miles off. I know that's 1,000 and that's 1,500 points. All right, so 22,000. So you're still about 600 points off that projected high, if that's the case. Okay, so just looking at it that way, with this type of price action could take us, and that could lead us to a nice move up to 22. All right. Let me just, I could just type that in there. 2,200 is maybe the key level that we're looking for. All right, on this leg up. Does that make sense, guys? How we just projected that leg out? So this is sort of a minor anchor level to this major trend up. So you got 1, consolidation, 2, pullback, and then consolidation through here, built a high low, so nice price action. And that's sort of your third leg up. And potentially if we extrapolate that out, we could be looking up towards another 600 points in the Dow anyway. Squeezing some more sellers back out of the market. And that trend there on the daily looks really, really nice. It still looks good. It still looks very solid. And okay, the stochastics are getting a bit overboard up here, but it's still looking quite good. Making sense? If I'm not, don't tell me. All right, let's look at the FTSE, see what's happening there. Again, it's a bit of a case of most recent price action. There's been a bit of sellers coming into the market here, but we're still holding a major key level at 71. That's your anchor level. Until that's broken, that trend is still higher. All right. That's the way I'm viewing it anyway. We might be just coming to a point here. If we can hold up around that 74, are we on a daily? Oh, you can see it quite nicely on the weekly, actually. So the leg up we're obviously looking at, you have that pop up. That's from around, say, 55. Pop up, higher low around 58. Push up, bit of a pullback, consolidation through there, and held up some around that 66.50. Led to a new push up that continued up. And this is a major corrective move when you come off some lower highs, but really just come down to a nice level at 71. So you can see these higher lows holding in through here, and the potentially could easily just keep going. So dragging it down to a daily chart. We'll just get into this year. There you go. It is a nice little zone where you can see on the daily too, the stochastics have been quite oversold, but everything's sort of gearing up for that could easily hold around that 74, 73, 75, and then start building. If you can get this nice little high low, if I draw that, nice price action, we don't need to draw it, this high low, so we saw previously around 72, that was at the start of May. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. Now pop up, build that high low, and that could really accelerate prices straight up through the all-time highs at 76, I think. Yeah, 76. Making sense here? So, 75.98, 76. I think that'll pop us up through, and that'll be a nice area. It looks like a prime zone for that continuation, that trend higher low. Off we go. All right. Any questions on that? Looking at the DAX quickly. The DAX, you got some choppy type of action. You can see that's probably more than likely what's been happening in London in May and the elections and Brexit, all that sort of things factoring in on it. But the market is still trending higher, holding higher lows, so not much to talk there. You probably got a nice little level at 12.5. Just spiked through a couple of days ago, spiked through the highs at 12.900. Did reject that, so we may be getting a lower high pullback. But can easily have a bit of a pullback, contraction, build the lower highs, but still hold the longer term trend up. And that's the key, what you want to keep an eye on. All right. No worries. Cheers, Benny. All right, any questions on those guys? And we'll look at some of the shares we've got running. All right. So we've got AFY. I know, Paul, if you're there, if you listen later, we have taken a partial on this one on AFY through 295 on that little run up there. So we got, let's just go back over to here. Bigger charts there. AFY, we had that through, I've always got to remember, 255. About here, when we popped up through 255, had took a bit of pressure there. Took a bit of heat there. Oh, Paul, g'day, mate. Took a bit of heat when we pulled back, and then we got that run up and smashed through. We pushed up through 3, hit about, what did we hit there? Highs of 315, so we did take it at 295. And the reasoning for that is because you can see at that stage it was getting a bit overbought there. You're coming into a clear resistance zone. Rather than, looking right at resistance to the dot, you'd want to take it a bit earlier. Sorry, Paul, just away on... had a funeral, a family friend's funeral, so that was down at Mount Martha Way, down the beach, so we couldn't make it there. The family went down there and then hung around there for a while and then head back that night, so missed out on that. Hope we missed me. Did you miss me there, Paul, anyway? All right, so we got that there. I think that's on the way up now. I think that looks quite good. You can see that it's trending higher, still holding higher lows. Looks like a prime little area here. And that weekly chart, I mean, there's not much different really in the weekly. That looks great. I mean, like we've spoken about before, you've had the push down, built the lower high, washed out these lows just below 2, and then that's led to the new leg up to the highs, pretty much to new all-time highs. I think it cracked new high 314, 316, yeah. So with that little pop-up, we made new all-time highs, and it'd be nice to see if we get pulled back, and that can build it's a prime position, holding above the MAs, the 50 and 20 MAs. prime little spot for continuation to take us up and through 316 if that's the case. That'd be great. I'd love to see that. But either way, we've got a we've got a nice little profit locked away on that one, and I think so. At 295 gave us just a touch under 16% gains. So that was good, and we're sitting on about 11. I think now we're probably a touch above that, about 11.5 at the moment. So we'll see if we can get that just continuation. But either way, and we've got our stops, if I remember rightly, 250, unless I haven't changed. Yeah, look, it's probably going to be raised. I just want to give this a bit of a chance. If we can push back up through 3, maybe 295, 3, I wouldn't mind raising the exit level on the remaining to around that 270 mark and just locking in a bit more gains on that one. Now let me remember what else we got here. CCP is another one we've got. That's price action's looking great. It's just, we've had that pop up which got us in, and then it's just been a bit choppy the last couple of days. But if you go back to that weekly's in a good spot to push up through those highs at 1950, say 1946. Which is just this high here. If we can get a continuation up through there and then through the highs at 20, that'd be great. Beyond with that one. What's the other one we've got? IMG was a new one too, I think, since we spoke last week. Kicked on beautifully. We were looking at 66.5. So with this little push up through here, if we can just go back, this little pop up through these, mainly this one. So the reason why I took this high as opposed to this high, all right, so you can easily, and you can see it did pop up through that previous high there, is that it could easily, sorry guys, let me just, all right, the price action could easily pop up through this high and just really pretty much retest that 66 zone and then roll over, all right, because we needed to see that price action, so I'd rather have seen a break of this high. It's coming off a nice higher low after that sort of capitulation price action lower. It's popped back up, built that lower high, built the higher low, and as soon as we got that break of that previous lower high at 66, for me, that's much better confirmation. And you can see what's happened since then. It's popped up to touched on 74. So anyone who didn't see the last alert, we're looking for around that 78 to 80 mark for a partial exit. Fell a bit short, so we'll see if that can kick on the next few days. And the reasoning for that is just extrapolating that leg up from this high low to the highs, taking that from the lower high here, high low just through here, and that's going to take us somewhere around just about 80, give or take, and I like to always have a bit, put it a touch below that level, just so it just makes sure that we can lock in some gains there. So we'll see if that goes. Now on that one, IMD, it's only about 8% at the moment, but that'll be looking somewhere around 10 or 12, I'm just guessing. 12% gain, if we can lock in that, that'll be beautiful. Others we got in play when we've had MND for a while. That's it's still looking great. It's coming off a major high low through here at around 12, extending up. Still got something, I think, left in that one. If you take the lower high, say from that 1025 up to about 1350, what's that, 325? Add that to 1525, say. So it could still be a bit left in this nice little move up. So we'll just continue to drag that up. We haven't taken a partial on that one, but we'll be looking sooner or later to take something off that. Just see how we go. That's looking good. MND, I think I've covered that. SHL, pretty much the same. That weekly, I love the weekly chart. It looks good. Nice little correction. Built that major high low, pushed up through the highs. Didn't get through it significantly because it come from a really nice base, a low base anyway, off that 17 with that push up through the highs, somewhere around 23.75, say, on this little candle here. Nice pullback, held that high low. So this price action through here, pretty much a good part of this year, on the weekly anyway. This through here, really nice. And you got that accelerated move, and this is the area we bought it into around 22.84 on a gap up. And then we've got that nice sudden move up. Bit of a pullback, which put us, we're still up on that one, but made me think twice, and it's kicked on. So I want to see it get through now, 24, 25. It touched on It hit 25 today. I want to see it just blast through that. If we can do it today or tomorrow, pop up through there and just get that continuation, that'd be great. And we'll just look for an exit on that one as well. I don't know if we've got much else in that. SKC is probably the only other one. Don't know if I've gone on it. That one, yeah, we've got it at 428. This top price action starting to struggle a bit, but it's still holding. It's just that move down the last couple of days. So I think that was Friday, Thursday, and when the overall market got knocked on the head a bit, I think. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, Thursday. Then, yeah, that copped it a bit, but still holding. We're at 415 exit. We got down to 17, I think, on that move down. Low was 17, so still hanging in there. It's still holding that price action, so if we can continue on from here, pushing higher, that'd be great. If not, we'll just have to reassess it as we go. So that's about it for me, guys. There's been probably a few... So just get ready to chuck in anything you want. If you want to have a look at it, just put the code into the chat and we'll get onto it. There's a few more. There's been a couple of little shorts. Now, I don't exactly remember. There's been a few that we're keeping an eye on. Now, AFI. Yeah, AFI was one that I'm going to have to see how it plays out, but I think if anyone's followed the alerts, you can see the reasoning behind that. You've had this move up, sort of washing out the previous highs, and then we sold off through these lows around that 590 mark. We started to hold, pushing up, higher highs, minor higher highs. So the main thing is we're getting higher lows, but we're getting into that $6 zone. Then we've pushed down from a lower high just here, around 595, and just washed out that 570 mark. So at the moment, on the daily basis, what we're looking for is this potentially roll over. And I think there could be a lot in this one and could really roll over and heading back down to 530, even breaking 530, because that will be a major, you can see through 6, a major lower high. All right, on the weekly chart anyway. What was the other one? EUC, yep, take a look at that. Yeah, they just had quite a cobalt mine, no worries. Trying to think of that, if anyone can remember the other short we were looking at. Anyway, maybe it's Telstra. We've got Telstra here. And the reason why we're looking at it, obviously you can see if you go back to the weekly, that trend's not looking good. We're in a good little spot potentially on the weekly basis. Stochastics had a good move up, you know, compared to where previously when it was overbought, way up here at 520, 530. It's had a good strong leg down. The only problem is you've had a couple of legs down from the highs. So you've had this move down from the highs down to around that $5 mark, reaction off 5, some higher lows, higher highs, and then it capitulated again with a move down to 4. It'd be interesting to see if we can push down through 4 from here. But really on that weekly basis, I'm gunning for, you know, a move down to 4 potentially, and you can see, I'll just draw it up. It's pretty clear what we're looking for and the price action we could be looking for on Telstra. This is a daily chart now. You know, you've got this, you've got a sort of key level up here. I think it was that one there. Let me just get back to all of it. 450. Yeah, it's about 450. Oh, don't want that. Where was it? Here we go. Oh, so it's a minor level up at 475. Then there's 450 zone. And what we've done, you can see you got higher low, yeah, that capitulation down, higher low, higher high, higher low. And it didn't really get through this high, all right, at 450. It just sort of popped up through this recent high, took it out, but not significantly. So this is the sort of the key level we're looking for now. Had a bit of a pullback. I don't know, like this. It's just pushed through 440, so off a lower high, pretty much a double top, bit of a washout, minor washout there. And you've got this leg down, which has taken out a couple of little minor levels there. And it's reacted up, but if we get, so what we're seeing there is that type of price action, pop up, only a minor, pop up, an inside level, wash out, and then we've just got this type of price action now. So if we get from here, you might get another minor high low and then just a deeper correction up towards 445. Then I expect from there just to roll over, or it comes off this lower high and then go, and that gives us an area where we can enter potentially through these lows at say 433, 4. We've got a prime area just above 440, 45 to put our risk, and just see if we can get something on the short side down to $4. But we'll see. Something we'll have a look at. Yeah, so this, what Davin just said there, yeah. Yeah, so what Davin's saying is off the MA, so you can see where it's touched here. Okay, we've above the MAs here, sold off down through, and then you started retracing back up, touched the MAs, sold down, touching the MAs. You know, that was between the 20 and the 50. Sold back down again. We've contracted all the way back up, but still touching those MAs. And this little one here, we're just touching the 20. And potentially if that rolls down through that 420, like I said, I think it's 434, 33. I think, yeah, it's on from there, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Now, Clement, you wanted to look at something EUC. Alrighty. So does that make sense, just what we're talking about with the MAs? That's something that Davin's big on. So it's a EMA, Paul, the 20 and the 50, yep. And like I said, it doesn't really matter too much. It's more of a guide. I mean, I know Dav tends to look at his stocks with, I think, one MA maybe. I don't think it was a 30 sometimes. It's just a guide, you know, if you're above the MA, below the MA, what's happening? You're pulling back to the MAs. When the market, the trend is higher or lower or whatever you're doing there. So just as a guide to what's happening, and I haven't missed anything there. David just said that. Sorry, I just saw that comment. That was great, Paul. He loves it, by the way. So don't worry about that. Just call him David. Devon. All right, what are we on? We're on the... Okay, so there's not much use to look at the... So look around this. Not much use to look at the weekly there. So we obviously know that EUC, it's way down on these lows. It's the lowest it's been for quite a while. Get over to the daily. It's just drilling on what we're seeing latest price action. Yeah. So like Clement, I think he's been looking at this one for a little while now. It's turning quite nicely. Just remember that we've got this. Yeah, should hear what his wife calls him. All right, so we've got this move. Yeah, good part of since July, about a year now, hanging around those lows. Spent a lot of time there doing nothing. You know, around that 2.5 cent mark, and it's popped up. All right, that was probably, was it March, February this year, and that's sort of what we want to be focused on. So when it's popped up like that on the back of news, whatever's happened, and then you got a bit of profit taken, and it's held in when buyers are stepping in a bit higher around that 4 mark. All right, so it's touched down in a couple of times, washed out the 4 here, and held up. Buyers stepping in, it's drifted higher a bit, up to around 5.5. Pull back, retested 4. And held. It's only a minor level, but it's spent a few days holding a higher level just around that 4.5, oscillating around there. Then started accelerating higher and just took out the previous highs just below 7 cents. Now it just washed out those highs, so it'd be interesting to see from here. We get a bit of a corrective action, so this becomes a lower high, takes out these minor levels just below 6, but then in context of this move, holds a high low somewhere around 5.5 or 5, a major high low, and then really start to accelerate. Because I think when you get these earlier moves here, they don't tend to go quite as far unless it's been massively good news. Something's popped out. Something's popped out and really triggered some strong buying. But at the moment, this... Well, what news has come out of late? May 26th. It doesn't look anything significant. Yeah, so if we can get that start, we want to see buyers hold it at a higher level again. So that's pretty much our key for anything. You know, pulls back. We've just taken out a minor level, like I said, at 6, and that's the only reason why I'm looking at it, thinking potentially it could roll over and have a deeper correction and then go. But there's no reason why this can't just blast through, 7.5. And just start accelerating higher. And you get anyone that hasn't bought it through here and is maybe waiting for a deeper correction to build some perfect ideal entry setup, they may be chasing the tail and just have to chase it up through 7.5, or some news comes out and just really drives it back up there. And then that, I would expect a nice accelerated move from there. So it's looking good either way. It's holding some higher lows. bit of rejection through that 7 mark. You can see it's rejected there 4 times. There, and there as well, and then had to sell off. So you got a bit of profit taken there from people who bought it around the 4.5 mark. Great little trade too. We'll just have to see what happens from there. But it looks good. Now, what was the other one? Someone else want to look at something? Is that right? Cobalt mine. So it'd be great to see how it actually goes. Now, is there anything else you want to have a quick look at, guys? Just chuck the code in there. What was that one you mentioned a while ago, Dav? It might have been at least a week ago now. I'll just see how that's going. I can't remember the code for it. Oh, cool. This is what I've been looking at. It's a bit of a heads up. It's Bubs Australia. 16.5 up 13% today. We did mention it on an alert a while ago, but it's quite small. So, but it has, if anyone can see that, I'll put it on the bigger screen. It looks good. You can see again, that's that push down. Major acceleration higher up to 44, 46. And big sell off, profit taking, but it's holding that. If you go to the weekly chart, I don't want that, do I? The weekly, it's holding that high low, and it's looking good. Just now, it's coming out with some good news. Bubs entered strategic partnership with NetEase Koala China. Sounds funny, but it looks good. And if we can get through, I think you can see this most recent price action. It's been consolidating through here. What's that? A good part of the last couple of month or so, consolidating through here. Through May. Around 16 and 12.5, just held, and it just popped up through 16. Was that high of 16? Yep. The other day, 16.5. Held a high low, and it's just trading at 16.5 now. So that's got the potential to really accelerate. It'd be awesome just to see that accelerate through these highs. 22 and above really start to kick on strong. So I've got my eye on that one anyway. I like that. And just so you all do know, I'm actually in that one. So FWD, that's the one he wants to say. This is something that Dav loves. David, sorry. You've had a nice accelerated move higher. I'm a bit tongue twisted today for some reason. Off that 100 or dollar mark, sorry. Held higher lows, pushed up, had a bit of a pullback, but really started holding higher lows. So that price action, then you got a lower high in here, consolidated right through here, and then started. You can see that the momentum was to the upside. The bias was to the upside. Where you can see that little acceleration higher into a previous high. Struggled. Okay, so when you struggle, what happens? You're going to get some profit taking. If you can't get through it, convincingly at least, it's just touched on it a second time here. Then you got these minor lower highs, push down, but bias stepped straight back in again around that $1.90 mark and started pushing it back in. So this, a third time lucky, when you get there and you get this type of price action, that's quite nice. Off some higher lows, a longer term trend, you're straight back up there. And the way we come up to, you can probably find that period of time was about half the length of time it took to push down from the highs at around 220. So that's another good sign to see. The number of days it takes to go up as compared to go down, if anyone sort of looks at that. But looks good. So I think Davin's been long this one for a while now. How long you been long on this one, Dav? You were getting it around here, or did you buy it? And you can even see as an entry wise, just in here around that 2 to 205 mark would have been beautiful. Well, there you go. The master got it around here. I'm guessing it was around that move in there. If we can just zero in on that. I think it was just around here. So you got that push down, just wash out $1.90, held a minor high low just above it, $1.91 or so. And then you get this little pop up through the recent highs around 202, say, and held through here. And I think Dave bought it probably around here, 204. So that's a beautiful entry. And that's front running a potential break through that high, which eventually happened. It took a few days to get there. But that accelerated move up, you can see which way people are leaning on this one. Just look at the weekly. And look at the weekly. It's got so much, I wouldn't say clear skies as such, but you get through a few levels through here, you get some little minor levels through here, then it could be on for young and old. It could really, 2 failed moves, yeah. So it looks great. Does that make sense on that one, guys? Anything else? Throw it at me. Otherwise, see how we're going. SAS is another one that's starting to move. So we had a nibble at this one. I think just before they came up with the, what was it? Capital raising, which pushed it down through 19, hit our stop at 18 to the T, and then took off again. So that's definitely heading high. That's a good looking stock too. I like this price structure. And look at that move. It's just starting to go on with it. So this could take out those highs straight through 30. And just remember the fundamentals behind this, looking great. RFF. No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, no, I did. Let's take a look at RFF. Too many Fs, wasn't it? Oh, this is an alert we just sent out today. To be honest, I think I caught this one a bit late on the daily. And I think I just missed a daily entry, so kicking myself a bit. That's beautiful price action through here. You can see it's sold off, and then it held the high lows back into the highs, just a touch below 20. Sold off, held a major high low, and this type of price action it's just beautiful. And then you got that accelerated move up to 25.50. But looking at it's just backed off now from those highs. Wouldn't mind seeing it contract a little bit, but look at the weekly chart. The weekly is just a cracker. You know, a major high low through, say, 16 bucks. It's pushed up. It's just pushed up into that resistance zone. So that's why I'm thinking maybe we're just reacting off that zone now. A bit overbought up there. We may just react off it. I'd love to see it hold a high low and then go again. RFF. Sorry to get sidetracked. Looking good. You were through, what price were you looking at that one there, Paul? It looks, rural funds, RFF, looks good. Looks really nice, actually. You can see that's just accelerated, popped into the high. We'll just have to see if it reacts off that 195, 196 zone, but 184. Was that through here? Oh, beautiful, Paul. So Paul, did you get it here, or was that... It's now 190. Yeah, 190 and a half. So looking good. So your obvious risk is just below. So that was probably about where you got it, Paul. Just a touch below that. To me, this is a daily, isn't it? Yep, daily chart. Obvious risk, but just below these high lows in here. Say 171, 72, thereabouts. That's where your obvious risk would be. And then if we can get that accelerated move up, that would be fantastic. And you can see that's, especially been grinding its way higher, higher highs, higher lows. It was mid last year. Spent a lot of time, pulling back, but really not that, into the end of last year. And you still building that higher low. Accelerated just towards the end of the year. Accelerated through the highs, making new highs, pulling back another high low, bang, and then just a bit of a washout on that. Was it that? With this move down here, just washing out this previous high low. But still, that's great. As soon as it trades through it and finishes just above it, consider that a washout. And then the price action we've got here on a move through, probably about where you got it, Clement. Beautiful. 184. Inside continuation, we call that. So it's within that move down, held a high low, inside continuation, meaning it's going to trend higher. So now we're really just gunning for a move up through 195, and probably if you could measure that from about, say, 155 up to 195, 40 cents. I'd ideally take it, say, just taking it from around 170, because that, whatever happened there, is that about right? What did I say, 155 up to 195, 40 cents, add 40 cents, it's only about 2. So potentially you still got it to run up to 2, or even higher, you got to 210, 215, 220. So just extending that move up, so it's sort of from that high low in here up to the high at 195, bit of a pullback, extend that out, but then it's going to be into new highs. So everyone's a winner up there. We'll see how that goes. Anything else you just want to take a look at? That's a nice one, Paul. Let's just see where everything else is. Market's just backed off a bit. CBA. Yeah, the hard one on CBA is that if I'm looking at this longer term, let's go to the weekly. Look at the weekly. I mean, this is why I love it. I think I just want to see some more price action. And that's just because of the way I trade, the setups I look for. I just want to see a bit more price action on that one. Let's just skip. Don't worry about the volume because the volumes. Don't have to worry about the volume on CBA. Is it the weekly? Not showing me enough. Actually, it looks better on that. What does that give me? That gives me a lot more volume candles, doesn't it? Right. Sorry guys, I'm just mucking around with charts. But you can see that's it's worked its way. Okay, we've got a bit of contraction here off the highs, so just about 60. That's led to a beautiful run up for a few years, right up to the highs at 95, 96. Then we had these lower highs, took out a key level just around here at 74, thereabouts. Were they low? 73. Took off the lower high, took that out, but that's held up. So we've held up 70. So looking at putting a few key things in place, we've contracted lower. We've held up that level at 70. We've had a washout also, and that led to that move up through a key level just about 85, or this high here. Let's just draw it rather than talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. They are trying to regulate them, but they're so ingrained in everything, aren't they? The banks, you know, whatever costs they incur, they pass it on. And that's my view. They just continue to do it. So, you know, just from a technical point of view, I don't like banks anyway much. Here we go. So that's the high we're looking at. That was structurally, that's a nice thing to see. Then you've got that move up through. So what you've got this move down, pop up, move down, pop up. So this is a lower high again, all the way back down. And then you've got this sort of choppy price action, but still it's built that lower high around 79. And then we got this sort of washout here, minor, you know, another retest down here. And then that led to a nice strong move up. So it's took out this 79 zone, lower high, great price action. And then we also took out that level there. So it's around 86. So structurally, we've just washed out those highs, got a bit extended at that stage, sold down, and we've just rejected sort of that breakout zone around 79 recently. So, like I said, I just want to see a bit more price action and say just dropping it to the daily. Daily is a bit better. It's in a nice zone on the weekly, but off the daily basis, I just want to see a bit more. Let's just drill in that a bit more. So this is the most recent price action. I don't mind seeing a bit of a pullback, and then, you know, we've got a bit extended up here too, and just this little last run up. We've taken out some key levels just on that daily basis. You can see some of those lower highs with this pop up here. But if we just say we're about this stage here, I would like to see really a bit more work, maybe another pullback. I can't draw those very well, can I? From here, maybe a drop down, a little minor lower high, and then I'd like to see the, you know, buyers step back into force and really build that major higher low. Something like this would be ideal. I mean, this has got the ability just to go bang straight up from here and really target up towards 86 again. Yeah, oh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah, so pretty much when I say more price action, Paul, just what I was explaining there. So I think I couldn't buy it from here. And the reason why, if I just bought it here, technically, or to be true to myself, I'd have to have my risk way down here, and I don't really want to tolerate that much risk. So ideally, I would just like to see, and the fact that it's just getting a bit extended up here, I would just like to see a bit of a pullback, build that higher low here, and that's confirmation that this longer term, because don't forget, we've also got on the daily basis, you've got this sort of price action through here, holding higher lows, looked like it was curving up, and then boom, we sold off and broke through that key level around 81, but we've just come down to that 79 zone, which is the weekly breakout zone. So that's why if I bought it here and this become a lower high, a major lower high, then we're going to roll over. We're going to take out 78, and we could be, pretty much the reason that you just mentioned, selling off quite hard. So ideally, if you start seeing this type of price action, that's a good indication that people are still biased higher, and that my reasoning for buying it higher is starting to play out. Okay, but if I bought it here, I haven't really seen any of those signs just yet. The fact that, going to that, so that price structure looks great. That looks great. Acceleration up, trying to hold those high lows. Then we get that bit of a pullback. So maybe it's just a deeper pullback in conjunction to this major high low at 70. But I just don't like buying when you just pop straight up like that, buying here, because I think there's going to I'll have to take a bit of heat sooner or later. But I'd rather see a bit of a pullback and hold a minor high low. So I'm looking for the minor high low to work my risk off. Does that make sense? Yeah, no, true. So yeah, it could just go on with it. But if it goes on with it, it doesn't bother me too much. I don't have to buy CBO. I can buy something else. There's always a few. There's been quite a few that have turned on a dime a bit. There's been some beautiful setups. Someone asked me in the chat a while ago. This is probably something we've spoken about too. As a high low, that looked great. For some reason, I wasn't too convinced to buy it through that little. You can see that lower high just here at about 1437. I was tossing and turning, and it was that day that it actually pushed up through, just later on that day. But realistically, that price structure on Sun, if you go to weekly, looks great. It's had the contraction low, and you can just take your resistance line across the highs. It was about here when it started breaking up, out of contraction, holding beautiful high lows on a weekly. There's a high low up here around that $14 mark. Whoop. Just in here, so the potential or the probability for a continuation high was good off that price structure. So looking great. But that's another one we just missed out on that. So be it. What else we got? Just trying to think of something else that stands out. That's not it. But anyway, so we'll just see how that goes. That's probably about it for me. It's been about an hour. So if there's nothing else anyone wants to just whack in the chat, if there's any more questions, feel free to email us to support@tradesetup.com.au. Again, Paul, thanks very much for when you send through your emails and really getting proactive there. It's great. We love seeing that. People getting involved. So it's good if anyone else just wants to send through some charts of some stocks they're holding or something, just wants a quick question. We don't have to talk about it in the chat, in the stream. More than happy just to give a bit of a comment back, and there's a few people that do it, which is great. I'm a talkative fella, so I don't mind having a bit of a chat and giving my opinion. I think it's good. What goes around comes around, so if I can help out, sooner or later when I need it, people are going to help me out, so it's always good. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'll be back in on, what are we now, Thursday? Again at 12:30, and then we'll just have another chat then, see how we go over the next coming days, see if the US can get off to a good start this week, and we can flow through the rest of the week for us. Anyway, cheers guys, thanks for joining me. We'll speak to you then.